Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to change the way the world eats. My name is Shurina, and I'm a certified nutritionist, health, nutrition, performance coach, helping people to learn how to use nutrition as a precise tool to change how we look, feel, and do absolutely everything in life. Guys, this is the last week of 2021. And I thought about what I wanted to bring to you in this last week. And I decided to every day bring a piece of my own learned wisdom, my own lesson that helped me to transform my eating habits a lot. If I look back at my life, last 20 years, from when I was a teenager, around 13, 14 years old, to now that I'm 34, my eating habits, my behavior around food, my thinking around food changed so dramatically. And with that, I also changed dramatically. Food reflected the way I was thinking about life, the way I am thinking about life, the way I show up every day, my values, so many things. It all reflects in not just our eating behaviors, but our behaviors that we do, that we repeat every day. There is a saying, how we do everything or how we do anything is how we do everything. And it actually has a basis in neuroscience, guys. Our brain, the circuits, neurons in our brain, they are multi-purpose. So the same part of the brain can perform different functions depending on the situation, on the context. Also, another thing is true. Many different parts of the brain can serve the same purpose. Right? So our brain is that powerful because it is that multi-purpose. There is not one region that performs only one task. That would be really impossible to handle life with a structure like that. No, our brain is so powerful because the same parts can perform many functions, and then one function can be performed by many parts. And so when we engage in a certain way, in a certain behavior, and it represents certain principle. Like, for example, if I decide that I'm going to be more of a long-term thinker, and I'm going to invest my energy, my attention into things that produce better long-term effects compared to what I get short-term, right? Delaying gratification for a long-term result instead of just going for the easiest, most pleasurable thing right now that might compromise that a long-term goal, the long-term result. So if I decide to act more like a long-term thinker, it's going to be not just about food. So it's easier for me to say no to a piece of cake. Like I thought about, having a piece of cake over the past few days, Christmas and all, quite a few times. And I thought about it, and the long-term thinker in me that I developed, it's like, Angela, yeah, there is this cake. It tastes sweet. It tastes delicious, but the pleasure is going to last only for 5-10 minutes, maybe 15, if you decide to eat it really slowly. But first of all, it's not something that I really, really want, like it's going to change my life. No, it was just a thought. I'm like, but it'd be nice to have a piece of cake. And then long-term thinker in me said, but Angela, it's going to last 5 minutes. And then it's not going to add any additional quality into your life. No, not really. I'm not that much into cakes. But it will affect your long-term goals. Not so much because it's just a piece of cake, but still, next day, even after eating that, your stomach gonna feel a little bit off because you don't eat cakes on a regular basis. Your sleep probably not gonna be as good, maybe not. And then next morning, you might wake up and you're like, oh, I should have another piece of cake. And that might screw up your whole eating habit for the last week of the year, right? It's not just about that piece of cake, the ingredients in it, it's also how it is going to change your thinking and your behavior. So long-term thinker in me decided, yeah, not worth it. Plus, I don't really want cake that much. And so that was around food. But that was not because I'm so great with my eating habits as a nutritionist. No, it's because I developed a long-term thinking muscle in myself as a person. And so how we do anything is how we do everything. And so how I eat, how I prioritize long-term goals, it also reflects in any other area of my life. I prioritize studying to develop myself as a better professional, as a better coach, as a better leader, to a party tonight, for example. I don't have any parties on Monday, 27th of December, but it's just the concept that I'm a long-term thinker. What I want my 2022 to look like. What is important? What is not important, right? If I'm a long-term thinker, I want to invest in my long-term goals, then I'm going to say no to a lot of short-term pleasures that don't really mean a lot in the grand scheme of things for me. Yeah, there are some things that I truly want to enjoy, and I would enjoy that. But I also would think about them. How do they affect my long-term goals, my true values that I really deeply care about, that I would feel really not comfortable if I compromise those values? So how we do anything is how we do everything. And so my eating habits, like the way they changed over the course of the last 20 years, that reflect how I changed as a person. And so now when people ask me, Angela, don't you struggle with eating habits sometimes? Don't you go out and pig out? No, actually, over the past, especially the past year, it's been really transformational. I can say that there has been not an instance where my long-term thinker and my short-term thinker did not agree. Sometimes I would eat more than I should have, but it was worth it. And I did it in a way that didn't compromise my long-term goals, right? Sometimes I would have eaten more nuts than I should have. But you know what? It just only made me feel good. It improved my health because of nutritional value. And yeah, I might not be the leanest the next morning, but who cares? That did not reflect my long-term goal, right? So the point here is your eating habits, guys, they reflect who you are as a person, how you show up, believe it or not. Because again, how you do anything is how you do everything. And so my message for you today is to look at your eating habits, the patterns that you find unsatisfactory, you do them and they make you feel not as good about yourself and about your life. And don't think that it's just some superficial thing because of, dietary world and, lean bodies and this aspect of making us more aware of how we look or our eating habits. Don't think it's superficial. And look at it as your own personal journey. There is no good or bad food. No, and I'm not here to tell you what exactly you should eat. Nobody knows exactly, what you should eat. There is no perfect diet, no perfect way of eating. But also, what is also true and what is also true, your eating habits, they do reflect who you are as a person. And so if there is some pattern of behavior in your eating that feels really unsatisfactory, look deeper into that and go beyond foods on your plate. Go deeper into what does this pattern actually reflect? What does it say about me? And I want to challenge you guys to develop eating habits, not to eat specific foods, but to develop eating habits that reflect who you truly are or who you truly want to be. How we do anything is how we do everything. And so if you're the kind of person who screw it, I'm going to be my best self next year. Understand that thinking like that about food gonna promote the same thinking in other areas of your life, be that your career, be that your business, be that your relationship, where you're going to say, oh, screw it doesn't feel good, but whatever. I'll look into that in some time in my future, right? Understand that that pattern of thinking is much, much worse than whatever you can put on your plate ever. And again, my challenge to you today is to look for this last week of 2021, look at your eating habits and figure out those patterns, those behaviors that really do not feel good when it comes to your values and the higher self, the true self that you aspire to be, the one who wants the best for you in your own life. And that's it for today, guys. No nutrition concepts, no macros, micros, brain nutrition, nutrition for productivity or to get leaner or to feel better, have more energy or better sleep. None of that. Just look at your eating habits and figure it out. What is that eating pattern, or what are those eating patterns that reflect things that you'd like to change about yourself in life? How we do anything is how we do everything. And once you understand that, you'll understand how small behavior patterns that make you feel like you compromise your long-term goals, like your true values, how those small things can really affect your life in a big way. So be there for yourself and invest into developing skills that make you feel proud about yourself, right? How you do anything is how you do everything. And food we eat every day. So if there is one small thing that makes you feel like you compromise your true values, your aspirations, who you aspire to be, imagine that repeated 365 days a year for several years, sometimes for decades. Don't you think it's going to produce quite a big effect on what kind of person you're going to become and what kind of life you're going to have? And I'm going to leave you with that today. Guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And as usual, till next time, eat better daily.